Hello, welcome back to the Trickway. I am Trev, and this is Gray. We are back for another episode of Lower Decks as he multitasks like a beast in the background. This one is season 5, episode 4 of Lower Decks, called A Farewell to Farms. Now, Gray, first of all, the titles in this season are a bit shit. Do you agree or disagree?
Well, the last one was didn't make any sense to anything going on. This one at least has a connection to one of the plot lines. So that's okay. But yeah, I could have thought of something a little different. But last week made absolutely no sense to anything.
Yeah, I didn't make any sense at all, did it?
Yeah.
Like, it's as if they are just keeping it very basic on purpose. Whereas catchy titles are part of Star Trek. They've always had catchy titles, always, for the most part, and they've not been amazing. This episode I struggled to keep my focus on. I didn't enjoy it, mate. I didn't find it that interesting or entertaining. I think you found it a bit more interesting and entertaining than I did, yeah?
Yeah, I did. But I like the Klingon plot line more than I like the birds. I mean, it was okay, but I think they could have thought of it's almost like they put more care into the Klingon side of the story than they did the birds. The bird was just kind of like a throwaway, so it's kind of like if I had to split the episode in half, I really like the Klingon part and I'm not so fond of the bird part. So.
That's fair. If you think about it that way, if it was just a Klingon central kind of episode, it would be a lot better, actually. It was two story points, first of all, two main story plots that I could see. The one with the birds, it's Dr. Migleemo, or whatever the bird's name is.
Migleemo,
or something, yeah,
like
the shrink.
Just call him Dr. Bird.
Dr. Bird, you renaming everything. People are like, oh, who's he talking about? It wasn't that angle I didn't really get. Like, who were the guys that came on board? Were they colleagues? I think they were colleagues. I don't think they were family.
It was something. They said something about them being
peers.
Peers, high mucky mucks on their world or whatever. And they're supposed to be like the greatest taste when it comes to, I guess, food or delicacies. The greatest taste masters in their world or some shit like that. What I can understand.
That was a whole ruse thing there. They just tried to shoehorn that. Yeah. They should have just kept it on Kronos. Kronos. It wasn't Kronos. It was.
Yeah, it was. Well,
no, was it? No, it was one of the Sidemans. Anyways, it was. They should have just kept it Klingon centric because with the birds coming on board the Cerritos, Mariner's involved. No, sorry, Mariner. Freeman was involved. Tendi was involved. And they're all trying to help Migleemo impress his peers by basically making stuff. And they start trying to make stuff with replicators to begin with. And the birds are like, these fellow peers are like, nah, we're not interested. That's disgusting. No wonder replicators. No matter what they cook, even when they do it fresh, it's not good enough for these birds.
Right.
One thing we have to say about the bird angle, the bird Secret Service, that was an epic, man. That was epic, man. We wonder why your man, I only mentioned this name once on this podcast, we know why your man now, Trump, did not have enough escort on him when he was doing the campaigns in his golf course. You know how the president gets the most and then candidates get less? It's because two of the Secret Service were bloody flanking these birds the whole time. Two birds down. I was going to say two men, two birds down.
So what you mean is that the president-elect needs two birds by his side.
Over here in the UK, that means something. Over here in the UK, that means something else as well. A bird is kind of, you know this, right? It's a slang, not derogatory, but it's a slang term for a girl.
Oh, okay.
Two birds.
Well, over here, it depends on how you say bird. It could be bad.
Oh, can it? Oh.
You ever hear flip from the bird?
Yeah, but this.
Yeah.
What? There's no bird. That's. We just say the middle finger.
It doesn't matter. That's the expression.
Is it?
Yeah.
Or if we do this in the UK, that's similar. You guys do it to count.
Over here it's peace. When you do it like that.
No, that way round
Oh,
it's
turn it
peace.
around, you
No,
mean?
that way. Yeah,
Yeah. You told
that's
me
enough
one
to
time. I forgot what that was.
cultural exchange. We're a mini federation here.
Yes.
Yeah, so the two Secret Service birds were hilarious. They literally go and arrest Migleemo for his atrocious cooking, which was funny. I must admit, that was you should get arrested for atrocious cooking. To be fair, that's reasonable.
Okay.
And they call this bluff out because these birds are saying everything is shit. So they literally swap over some actual shit for food and disguise it. And they taste it and they're like, oh, that's brilliant. And they're like, I knew it. You guys are up to something. That was actually shit. They're on the whole planet.
The funny thing is that storyline or what they were going to do, I could see it a mile away. I knew what they were going to do. I didn't know exactly how they were going to do it, but I knew they were going to call them out. I knew they weren't tasting anything. It was pretty apparent, after a while.
Yeah.
So it wasn't really pulling the wool over our eyes. The Klingon side of it was better because they were really trying to get into Klingon lore and stuff that happened 300 years ago, and it's all in the text, the ancient texts. So all that kind of worked. The other thing I liked about the Klingon side was that I didn't know Boimler was such an expert on Klingon. I mean, but he's geeking out. You can tell him he's like, "Oh, I'm on Klingon. Oh my god," and then he gets beaten crap, and he's going like, "Yeah, I got beaten up by Klingons." It's like, oh, okay.
Gray's jumping the gun. They essentially just ending that crappy story element with the birds. When they're found out at the end, it's like they've been holding themselves in with a corset the whole time. And they just let go finally. You know what it's like when you're trying to impress yourself in front of the opposite sex or the same sex. And as soon as they disappear, you let go and it's like,
I see. The funny thing about that is I had a cockatoo at one time. And I also had yes, and I also had a parakeet. And they do fluff up like that. They do fluff. That's part of their thing. They fluff up like that.
Make up your mind. You had one or two.
No, I had one cockatoo, and then another time I had a...
You said a cock or two. Make up your mind.
Okay, very funny.
Hey, come on, Gray. No, they do. But it looked like I know that they puff themselves up to look like more stronger, and so many animals do it, don't they? But this, these two look like they were just letting go, and they're like, yeah, their taste buds have gone to shit. And for any member of that species taste to go, it's like game over kind of thing. But yeah, part of that to the side, Klingon stuff was more interesting. It's like Mariner and Boims were on Klingon moon, basically doing some science mission. There's always got to be some little reason. You can't just turn up and want to visit old friends.
Right.
But they end up meeting a couple of old friends that we've seen before. General Corinne, and is it Math? I think I'm pronouncing that right. M-A'-AH. They're former friends of Mariners. And so it starts off with two brothers. The two brothers are farmers, but one of them literally wants to be in the Klingon fleet, for the want of a better expression. And they've got to go through all these trials and stuff. And the General Corinne, he's just been the main general guy. He's just been. I think he was just enjoying what he was doing. He was literally handing out all these trials to Boimler and Mariner, and whatever he threw at them wasn't enough. He tried to think of something else to give to them, so just for his amusement. But the one thing we have to point out, Gray, what the hell is that growing on Boimler's face? What is that?
Looks like an earthworm or something.
Oh,
we mentioned, or I know I mentioned a couple of times in the past episodes, says you watch, it's going to keep on getting, more and more every episode. Starts out with one or two whiskers, and then the second episode he has several whiskers, and now in the third episode he has a mustache. So I'm
there'll be a reason for that, Gray. There's always a reason for something in Star Trek, especially if it's animated. There'll be a reason for that, right? I bet you come the end, the finale or something, there'll be remember the Defiant, the Deep Space Nine episode, William and Thomas Riker, and Thomas Riker pretends he's well and steals the Defiant. One of my favourite episodes of DS9, actually, I generally love that. There might be something like that going on, where it's the crossover with his alternate version of Boimler, which does, but he does exist at the moment out there, the one with like the beard and all that shit. So
Boimler mentioned one time, or maybe it was one of his friends, but about the fact of the other Boimler and that the other Boimler had a beard and stuff. So I'm wondering if it's just I'm getting the feeling that Boimler's growing all this so he could look like him, so he looks a little more manly or something like that. And stuff. So unless it's leading to something else, I mean, it could be, but I know they did say something about that. So I don't know. We'll see.
I would like to see that because he did look cool, all the beard and stuff on there. Let's say I wasn't ultra impressed with this episode. It wasn't bad. It's just it was a bit meh for me. I do like the fact that they beat the last pain stick trial that they have, with the old Klingon pain sticks, which I've seen multiple times in Star Trek. Because the dosage, the voltage even is going to be too much. But it was kind of cool. They all literally joined together, like all sat on top of each other and held on to each other to share like the load of the voltage, which was actually pretty smart. I'll credit where credit's due, and they complete it. And then the general's still trying to like, no, you can't get in. No. He tries to think of something else until they just call his bluff. And they're like, right, okay, you're at it. We call whatever ritual it was, blah, blah, blah. Kill the evil general guy. And then the farmers are just like, I mean, listen, Boimler was treated like seriously for once in this episode. That's what I would say, Greg. He was treated more seriously and with respect, and he does have a good line where he talks about saying to the brothers, listen, you don't need to be joining any stupid fleet, like you could do your own thing. And he said, listen, I could have stayed on the Titan, but I came back to the Cerritos, which some people might think is crazy, but it's where he wanted to be, And I've been in situations like that myself, Greg, where I could have had a better paid job, or I could have moved to this place or that country. Maybe it's better one respect, but it's where you're happiest and most content. So the brothers basically leave their hard farming ways behind. And they go in a little, I think it's just like a thoroughcraft Klingon type thing, and they go off and do their own thing. But the dumber brother of the two, this is what I was saying to you when you weren't actually on Riverside and we thought you were at the time. The dumb brother sounds American, right? And I don't say that in a facetious, cheeky way. Michael Dorn was told by Gene Roddenberry, drop the American accent because you're an alien. You shouldn't have an American accent. You weren't brought up. You weren't brought up your whole time on Earth. So you should have more of a neutral accent. And that's what Michael Dorn changes his voice. The smarter brother of the two, he sounds generic, but the stupid brother does sound a bit American. Did you notice that, mate, or did that just go over your head?
Well, I did. I wasn't so much noticing whether it was an American accent, but what I did notice with the dumb brothers, as we're calling them,
the hills have eyes, but Klingon still,
is that he was kind of goofy though. So I was kind of like, I don't know if every Klingon would be quite that goofy.
Yeah,
So that's the only thing that kind of put me off a little bit. It was okay, but it was more like he was acting like a Ferengi more than a Klingon.
That's a fair description, my friend. That's a fair description. But anyway, listen, it was a 6 out of 10 for me, which doesn't mean it's awful. It just means it's meh in my books anyway. But to each their own. Might have been up to 6.5 or a 7 without the stupid bird plot. Craig, what did you give it out of 10? Did you like it a little bit better than me?
I give the birds 5, and I give the Klingons 8. So that means 6.5, right? Something like that.
6.5. I thought you'd go higher on that. Interesting. All right, okay.
Well, I was trying to get the average between the 5 and the 8.
I know. I know. What I might do is we don't really have the time, but I might come back for a short or a smaller video or something, because there was some kind of rumours about Lower Decks being an actual one-off movie, like not animated, like live action, which is controversial. I would personally love that, but I'll leave that for another video, certainly. Great, we'll wrap up there, mate. We'll keep it short and sweet. Literally, we just watched the episode before together, watch party style, and then we go straight on. So I'm not taking notes. It's more raw, the way we like it. We're not writing stuff down. It's just coming from memory, and it sounds better and it's more natural, I think, anyway. So we'll get this uploaded just now, and I will catch you later, Grace. Thank you very much, mate.
All right, take care.
Cheers. Bye-bye.
Live long and prosper. Bye.